Okay, good. I think we're live. Yes, we are. I did it this week. Aren't you all proud of me? Good. There's that snow. Look, it's snowing in Hawaii. Okay, welcome to the Caring Caregiver Show. Hi, I'm Savy. I'm your host, Savy Makalena with Gimme a Break. You know, Gimme a Break is an all volunteer nonprofit organization. And we all do what we do because of the passion that we have. And we're all caregivers, just like you. Our stories are all so similar to yours. We've been through that. We're still going through that. We know there's more on the horizon. And so we're here to make a change. We're here to change the narrative that's currently out there for caregivers, which is a grim one. And we want to bring back the joy of caregiving. So that's one of the reasons why I'm here every week. I'm here to connect you to caregivers, to caregiver resources that you need. And of course, if you need any help right away, by all means, contact your doctor, call 911, get the assistance that you need. Don't wait for my show. But if you have time, please join me. And you can always check out our website as you're scrolling around. Go to gab808.org. Super easy to remember. Give me a break is what we're called, right? So GAB. Where did we start? Right here in the beautiful state of Hawaii. 808 is our area code, gab808.org. And I love that it's in our name because it'll always remind us that this is where we began. This is where the heart of Gimme a Break will always be. And we started right here with all of you caregivers, and hopefully we will be able to conquer, by the way, 232,000 family caregivers in the state of Hawaii right now. That's a lot of people to reach, and we're going to do our best to get in touch with all of you and to support you all and to get you the resources you need. So this is the quickest way, right? Log on, follow us, and get here whenever you can and check it out. So you're here. And also, if you do need more support, there's that snow again. You'll see me doing this throughout the show. I'm not drying my armpits. I'm literally getting the snow off the screen. So I hope that's helping. Not sure what that is, but that's my solution. Okay, so if you need support, also once a week, not just here on the show, every Tuesday evening, let me get there we go. Every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m., free, online, no charge, super easy. Log on to your Zoom, join a community of caregivers just like you. It's your positive safe space. And you can connect with caregivers. And this is where we learn. This is where we share. And this is where we sometimes even release. We just closed out last night with a series, like a 10-part series, letting go of caregiver guilt that we've been talking about. And we really stress the importance of self-acceptance and being able to prioritize your wellness because, you're the most important part of the caregiver equation. And so, if you want to share, you want to learn, you want to connect, join us every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. Just log in, and it's 808-754-3787 is the meeting code, meeting ID. And if you forget that, that's okay. Go onto our website. You can log in straight from our website. The bottom line is get there, connect. We're here for you. The Caring Caregiver Show is how Gimme a Break gets you connected to your resources. And our Giver's Guides magazine, right here, there's our November cover, is a wonderful magazine that is written for caregivers by caregivers. And it's your point of view, our point of view. And it's so different. We was just on a conversation the other day talking to somebody about how you don't really know unless you've really been in it. You've been a caregiver. And some people don't even realize they're caregivers until I say, well, have you had to do this? And then all of a sudden you realize, oh my goodness, that's what being a caregiver is. And we all go through that. So that point of view makes all the difference in these articles. None of them are going to tell you to go out and work out once a week in a gym for an hour because you don't have time for that. But we will show you how to practice mindfulness and how to get in shape in a minute, 5 minutes. And we do that throughout the year. So here's the November cover. We're celebrating the last month of her reign as Caregiver of the Year. This is Shani Kanjuran. You can read her story. It's in that issue. And the question there stated, of course, is, let me take this off so you can see it on the screen. who will be our 2025 Caregiver of the Year. And I'll talk about that more later on in the show. All right, so in order to get the magazine, you say, how do I do that? So easy. Simply make a donation today and receive 12 monthly issues of Giver's Guides online magazine. You make a donation of $25 or more, and we'll send you one issue every month for 12 months. If you make it a yearly thing, then you'll always have this magazine, and you'll always have a wonderful take with you online issue that you can read anywhere. Okay, so that's that. Let's get on with the show. This is season 16. It's episode 6. I'm clicking madly. And there's that snow. Boy, I'm going to have to resolve this issue. There we go. All right. So thank you for your patience and understanding. See it? Is it B? I don't know. Anyway, it is National Caregiver Month. And so with National Caregiver Month, of course, we're sharing caregiver stories, and we're definitely doing some crazy, wonderful things for caregivers. And I'll be talking about some of that next week on the show as well. But, you know, it's also National Gratitude Month. And I really want you to take a moment to show gratitude to not just the caregivers that you know, but if you're a caregiver, to yourself. Really tell yourself thank you and acknowledge all the amazing things that you're doing. And I also want to send out a really huge mahalo to these amazing ladies. These are the ladies of the Pilot Club of Honolulu. And they presented me with a check for $500 to make a donation towards Gimme a Break last evening. And the kindness that they had went beyond that donation. They had such compassion. I was hugged so much because of all of you had heard about my mother passing, and just really made me feel like I was loved and cared for, and even reaching into your own purses. One in particular, thank you so much for sharing the 2 Thanks Caregiving dinners that I'm going to be gifting to 2 caregiving families in need. So thank you for that. My heart is so full. I just can't mahalo you all enough. And thank you so much for your kindness. Our gratitude, of course, to everyone out there who continues to support and donate to the work that we're doing. And this is our passion mission, right? We're going to change the world of caregiving. And gosh, you guys, your support really is everything. Okay, so with it being National Caregiver Month, we will be sharing stories all month. So let's bring on my first guest today and talk about her story. Because, you know, being a caregiver doesn't mean that you have to let go of yourself. Self-care is not selfish. It's a necessity for survival. And today we're going to learn how to be ageless. And so I'd like to bring in my first guest. Aloha and welcome Nam Collins. How are you, Nam?
Hi,
Nam Collins of
how are you?
Ageless Sculpting. Aloha, welcome. So excited to have you here today. And I want to thank you. And please share your caregiving story with our listeners.
Actually, one of my, she is a very close friend of mine. A few years ago, I would say, her mother had been suffering from Alzheimer's. And she did her best. I mean, day and night, she would be constantly vigilant. Her mom tended to, especially at night, leave the home and just wander. And I just remember I think she did about 3 years of this on her own. She had nobody else in the house.
Yeah, that's
and it was really tough for her. So finally, she did get to a place where she ended up taking her to the plaza. And then she's passed, I think, about a year ago. So I just saw the struggle, you know, and just having that. And she was constantly just deprived of sleep and rest. And she really just, her health also was kind of waning. So I did start doing treatments for her. It's a red light therapy treatments. And it's just basically rejuvenating your bodies, rejuvenating your cells. It takes about anywhere from 40 minutes to about an hour. But most red light therapy, you don't really see a very deep penetration of the light. So it's more like, oh, it feels good. But ours is actually medical grade. So
Well, let's
it just
talk
has
about
that.
that difference
Yeah.
because, we, especially, for my own experience, right? I went through caregiving, and when I came out of it, I was depressed, I was overweight, I was, and I really could have used
Mhm.
this. And so understanding the difference, because there's a lot of that red light therapy out there. So what's
Mhm.
the difference with what you do?
Great. Thank you for that question. There's actually so much that people are very confused. A lot of the red light therapy, they penetrate the maximum penetration depth. I've seen maybe like a $20,000 device and it penetrates about 13 millimeters. I think that's the deepest one I found. But our technology, which I've been doing for over 8.5 years now, it penetrates about 3.9 inches, almost 4 inches. So it's actually able to
That's a
affect you.
substantial
Oh,
difference.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. But we can see it in even after one session. So we were doing a COVID trial during all that craziness. So we ended up doing a long COVID trial about 2 years ago. And I treated about 10 people. And out of the 10, two of them were on oxygen, those little oxygen tanks.
Yes. Yeah.
And so we did a protocol. It's basically like twice a week, 40 minutes. We treat the lungs and 6 total sessions. So in 3 weeks, keep in mind, these long COVID patients, they would have had to have been in that state for at least 16 months or longer.
Right.
They were able to come in. They did the 6 sessions, and two of them after the 7th week, because I give them a break after that. Like, okay, we're going to take a 2-week break, come back, and let's just see how you're doing. They both got off their oxygen.
Wow.
Majority of the 10 people, except for one woman, she still needed extra sessions, but everyone else was back to their normal life. Like there was one guy who couldn't even walk up his stairs. He had about 14 steps to get to his home. And he said it would take him about 45 minutes because he couldn't breathe. He couldn't surf. He couldn't do anything that he used to love doing. And he said, even after the first session, he was just like, I actually have videos and stuff, but because we didn't finish the study, we couldn't publish them. But he was running up the stairs. It was just
Wow.
incredible. Yeah. So
Wow.
there's a huge difference. They're
And you
not
say
created
this
the
is
same.
because the difference, of course, is this is medical red light
Mhm,
therapy. It's
mhm.
not just, a somebody who has a red light machine. And so
Yes.
there's medical science to this, right?
Mhm,
And so
mhm.
how does that light actually, it promotes healing?
It does. So it's actually considered, the technology is called photobiomodulation. So it's basically light, frequency, and energy. And that's how it works. And they have a patented FDA, it is FDA cleared, risk level 1, but it's a patented modulation that allows for the light to penetrate deeply. It's pretty incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really amazing. And it kind of, and I'm not certainly not trying to downplay what you do because I think it's amazing, but it kind of
Mhm.
reminds me, I always said, with all the things in technology today, why can't we have that table, in Star Trek, showing my age? And, in Star Trek, they had that table and they'd lie on the table and then they'd beep, 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 beep,
Exactly.
and the person would be cured. And I said,
Mhm.
that should happen, right? And yet here it is today in our day now, where you can actually go and get these kind of treatments and be able to heal.
Well,
And
we actually brought in a new technology as well. It's called PEMF. So it's pulse electromagnetic frequency therapy. And we use it in conjunction with the red light. So I am actually giving away some. You would have to make appointments, but it's a 30-minute session. And all it does, it actually activates because all caregivers need some energy, right? We need energy. So instead of chugging coffee and chugging those energy drinks that are very bad for your health,
yes,
we're talking about being able to um, have it naturally occur within your body through your ATP cells. It's awesome. So,
that is.
yeah, so we
So
do
you
both.
have a special, right? So you're offering, in fact, a
Yep.
free red light session for the first 10 calls that she receives, and mention that you saw it on the Caring Caregiver Show. And
Yep.
NAM is going to do it's a 30-minute session, right?
The red light therapy is 40 minutes because we
40
do
minutes.
20 and
Wow.
20. And it's normally $100 a session. So we're giving away 10. But for the PEMF, we'll if it's available, because it gets booked very quickly, we would also be able to offer that. And the PEMF is a device that you can actually purchase if you want to, or you can come here and do it. But most people, they don't have the time to come once a week or as they need
Right.
it. Yeah, but you can get it too.
That's it. That's just so exciting. And so watchers, listeners, anyone who's viewing or listening in on podcast, hopefully there's still 10 spots left if you see it on podcast next week. 808-725-0200. Okay, 808-725-0200. And of course, you can go on our website. You'll be able to find that information or contact us. But what a wonderful opportunity, and what a wonderful thing that you're doing, right? And this is why resources are not just things that are needed for those we're caring for, and it may benefit them as well. But we're really here for the caregiver, because the caregiver needs to understand that resources include your self-care. And I love that you came on the show to talk about it, because I think it's important that we normalize self-care.
Absolutely. It's we always, even as moms, you know what I mean? That's like the ultimate caregiver.
Yep.
We
the very first
totally forget about ourselves. And I used
Yeah.
to do that all the time. And I ended up being like 40 pounds overweight and just unhealthy, sick all the time, totally lacking energy. I mean, it was horrible. So I realized at some point, like, if you don't care for yourself, you cannot care for somebody else. Not
That's
well, right?
Yep.
So
like I
it
said
is
in the beginning,
important.
right? You're the most important person in that equation.
Yes.
And so that's right. You've got to take care of yourself. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, Nam, and for
Yeah, of
coming on
course.
today. I really appreciate your time. And again, everybody, you're getting a free session. So just call today, call within the next week, and hope there's still something available. But 808-725-0200. And thanks again, Nam. Aloha, and I appreciate you being here
Thank
today.
you.
Sharing that. Bye.
Bye.
Wow, what a great opportunity, you guys. See, this season, boy, is packed full of not only amazing resources, but some great giveaways as well. Not just for the ones you need care for, like I said, but also for you, because you need to practice self-care. I am not going to stress that more to you. As a reminder, this year, we lost 2 of our volunteers that were caregiving, and they left behind the ones that they were caring for with no one to care for them. And we can't have that. We have to change this. We have to change that narrative completely. Mind you, all of our caregivers are resources. Like I said, 99.9% are caregivers themselves, or know or have been involved with someone very dear to them who's been caregiving. So they get it. And it's truly an honor for the Caring Caregiver Show to be able to continue to share these resources with you. Speaking of stories, yes, we are in the middle of our Caregiver of the Year contest. And so some of you may have kind of put it off to the last minute to enter, and now it's too late. It is closed. Entry for the contest is closed, and we have our entries already. We'll be sending those off to our judges who aren't even from the state. So they don't even know anybody that entered, and they won't even get the names. They'll just get stories on black and white paper, and they're going to choose the story that impacts them the most. And we'll have our Caregiver of the Year announced at the end of the month. So don't worry. And of course, you can still support caregivers by donating or by being an advocate. I was just on the Kokua Council meeting and was able to introduce the bill that we've been trying to get introduced all this time, the bill to get caregivers paid. So you want more information for that, go onto our website and GAB/be an advocate and sign on to the bill, because we're going to hit that legislative floor this year. I am sure of it. I am manifesting it, and we will need you to support caregivers. Because like I said, 50% of caregivers pass before the ones that they are caring for. You want to know the really scary part of that is that if you're a caregiver 70 and older, that statistic jumps up to 70%. That means 70% of our kupuna caregivers are at high risk to pass before the ones they're caring for. And we have to do something about that. That statistic hasn't budged in 5 years. We have to bring back the charity. We have to get survivors. We have to bring back the joy of caregiving. In fact, we really need to stay healthy. And I'm sorry, I know it's irritating. I keep waving my arms, but look at it. It's just going off. We're going to change it. I got to work on this. We won't have it next week, I promise. But the challenge then is to stay healthy, right? To take care of yourself, practice self-care, practice wellness. And I know that some caregivers lose their jobs. In fact, it's a 70% nationwide are losing their jobs because of caregiving and your onus that you have to caregive. So with that, you might be priced out of healthcare, right? You're going to need help. Maybe you are still working, but your healthcare that you have is not as good as it should be, or you can't afford to bring on your family. Well, my next guest can provide a solution to that. And I'm really excited to bring on Matt today. So please welcome Matt Skeele of Impact Health Sharing. Hi, Matt. Welcome. It's so good to have you here.
Hi, thanks, Savy. Thanks for having me.
And you have a caregiving journey too, don't you?
Yes, I do. My wife and I'm from Hilo. My wife's a Oahu girl, and we had 4 kids in our 20s. And so it was just back to back. And she was a full-time stay-at-home caregiver. And now we've been married 26 years, and we have a couple of grandsons. And, you don't realize how tired you were until, I have my son that's 24 and him and his new wife, and they have a 10-month-old son, and they come over and they just fall asleep on the couch, right? Like it's lights out, at 8 o'clock. And, but I'm so, just captivated is not the right word, but you're such a champion of this mission. And the statistics, once people realize what the stats are, it's staggering. It impacts every single family.
Yes.
And, my wife and I'm 50. I'm a couple years older than my wife, but all 4 of our parents are still alive. They live on different islands. And, we raised our kids and we're raising our grandkids, but we know in the next 10 years what's around the corner. And I don't know that I'm prepared. And so I'm just so appreciative of your mission and the fact that you're taking a stand, you're changing the narrative, because people like me, I need to be prepared.
Yeah.
And my wife and we're going to be the ones that are going to, we caregive for our kids, and then it transitions and we caregive for our parents.
Yeah. I was in my 60s, just going into my 60s when all hell broke loose with my mom and dad. Who knew? And it took 12 years of my life away that I had no idea. So you never know. And that's actually, I'll be talking about that later, but it's actually in our issue. You'll see it on the December issue coming up, because the care receiving plan is something that I teach in workshops to prepare for your own care receiving, so that, we change that. We don't want the next generation to not know what to do.
Right.
And so that care receiving plan is something that we're going to be teaching in workshops all through 2026, and helping caregivers to get educated so that people are prepared. And part of that is something like this health sharing. No one knows. I didn't know what does that mean? I don't even know what health sharing means. Do I share my good and bad health with people?
Yeah, no, it's an industry, health sharing. It's an industry that's been around 30 or 40 years. But really on the mainland, and like so many things, it seems like things just take a decade or two to get to Hawaii.
Right.
And so it was really had its roots, back in the 90s, kind of in, think about like the Amish in Pennsylvania, or the Bible Belt across the Midwest, or, spiritual communities. It was very based in kind of churches and religion. But then the Affordable Care Act came along, and now, because of technology and because of some changes in the industry with Impact Health, it's not just based on religion, it's ethics based. And so it's more along the lines of taking care of your neighbor, loving your neighbor, taking care of your community. And it really is an alternative to traditional healthcare that is much, much more affordable, and yet has all of the safety net and protection that traditional healthcare, health insurance
I
to
love that you
provide.
said that. No, I love that you said that. And a lot of people go with that standard choice of one or two organizations because of that safety net, feeling like that's safe, and so they never complain or never say, well, it's too expensive. And a family of 5 or a family of 4 like yours, rather, well, your wife would be the 5th person. The cost must be insurmountable to get that on some of those standard policies that are offered to you by your employer. I would think that the savings to go with this type of health sharing is really, really different, right? It's substantial.
It is. It's a game changer. We are saving, and this is in comparison to your typical kind of Obamacare, ACA plans. And so in Hawaii, we're talking about not so much the people that get it from their employer, but the tens of thousands of people, including caregivers, that are self-employed, and they're 1099 and they're independent contractors and they're working from home and they're juggling. We're saving people 50 to 70% compared to the ACA plans.
That's big.
It is. And so, for instance, I met with a self-employed kind of small business owner yesterday at Kahala Mall, and he just got his Obamacare renewal. His family, the premium was going to be $3,000 per month. Think about that. Like, someone, you basically have to gross 60 grand a year just to pay for your health care. And that is if you're healthy or you're sick, just to be able to say, hey, I want to be able to go to the emergency room, go to Queens, go to Kapiolani if something happens to me, my wife, my children. And so our quote for him, he was about, it's based on the oldest person in the household. So he was like, I think 54. And our family quote for him was $628 a month for the entire family.
Wow.
And
So
so
now
it's
the
not,
family can keep healthy, not just because they'll have the insurance, but because they can eat.
yeah, yes. Like, we routinely save families $1,500 a month. Now with Obamacare kind of officially kind of broken, I don't, if anyone's been watching like the federal government shutdown, one of the core issues is that we're no longer extending the Obamacare tax subsidies effective January 1st.
Right.
So now officially the Affordable Care Act is no longer affordable. It's no longer being subsidized by the government or other taxpayers. And we have a problem. And Savy, you probably wouldn't be surprised, but others might be. There are thousands of people that are uninsured because they make too much money for MedQuest, or the household makes too much money for MedQuest, and they don't have a W-2 job. They're not working 20 hours a week for kind of another employer, and they don't have a safety net.
Yeah. This kind of reminds me back in the day, and I actually spent 15 years on Hawaii Island. I lived in Kamuela and North Kohala, and I loved it. But there was so much community there, right?
Mm.
And there were communities that would hui together. And we would, like, one person, grew this, and another person grew this fruit, or another person had this vegetable. And then we would hui together. And this was before farmers markets. And we would kind of form a co-op, if you would, of ways to sustain each other. And we kind of, bartered or sold it for a lot less than having to go and buy things that were being shipped in from the continental US. And that was how we all managed to survive. And that kind of reminds me of what the Impact Health Sharing is doing. It's a community kind of thing. You take care of one another, and everybody gets in this program, and then your rates are lower, but you still have this great coverage. And I think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how it feels. It feels very community-based, and very much, it's not necessarily that you have to be part of a church or a spiritual, but part of this community now. And I feel like that's kind of where we're going in the future. I think we need to take care of one another in some way. And so hooing together to me seems the best way to do it, right?
Absolutely.
If hooing is a word.
That's right. No, it is. It is. And what with Impact Health, we really leverage technology. And so think of, we're often called the Uber of health sharing. And it's just like an Uber, that's technically not a taxi,
Right.
but it's a private vehicle, but it operates the exact same way as a taxi because of technology.
Yeah.
With Impact Health, of course, across the nation, we are paying doctors on average in 13 days. And so providers, and there's no network. So you can go to any hospital, any emergency room, urgent care, primary, specialty, pharmacy across the entire nation.
That's
Right?
amazing.
So it's an entirely different system, and things should be easier. But to your point, Hawaii, we're so geographically isolated and we're extremely monopolized. Many industries are, whether it's airlines, utilities, banking, healthcare, and health insurance is no different. We have Blue Cross Blue Shield and we have Kaiser Permanente. Other than that, there's no options, really. And then it's even worse when you're at the 1099 space, because who's advocating for you?
Right.
And so when it comes to, I think you mentioned a stat that 70% of caregivers are kind of in that self-employed, independent contractor, 1099, status. Like, who's advocating for them? Who's helping them? Who's bringing solutions that's going to, make their livelihood work?
Yeah. And that's a scary thing, right? That's a scary thing, that people would rather go without having any health coverage. And
Yes.
especially when you're at risk as a caregiver, then invest in something that's going to be so much better and so much cheaper. I mean, it's so much more affordable. And who's to say? We're not here to make your decision for you. And if you're comfortable with, like, that safety net that you've had all those years, then more power to you. But if you're looking for a better way, I think that there are so many better ways of so many different things now that are coming to us, that it's worth talking to Matt about and get the story from him. He's a really good guy. I met you, and you have such a good heart, and the heart of a caregiver. You know what that's like. And even if you're not out there and you're not a caregiver, folks, if you're going through something and you need to get a better health sharing, get it, and find out what's out there. My whole point of a resource is that what you don't know, you don't know. So you need to find out. So get all the information you can, and then you make an informed decision. And an informed decision is one that's much better. To just kind of go along with what you've been doing might not be the answer. Things are changing. And I like that you brought that out too, because things are changing politically, things are changing in the world, things are changing with funding. And now's the time to get all the information you can to protect you and your family. So
Absolutely.
I think it's a great thing. So, and I know you were referred to me, and then when I met you and we talked earlier, I was like, wow, there's a lot of heart to what you're doing. And so I really am glad that you shared that information. Now, is there anything else you wanted to bring up today that I missed?
Oh, yeah. So one of the things that sets Impact Health apart is we have a wellness credit. And imagine, like, even what Nam was talking about, kind of that red light therapy. So it comes with our membership or our plan. Any naturopathic services or medications, supplements, massage therapy, acupuncture, Impact will give each member up to $150 wellness credit per month. We're actually incentivizing healthcare.
Wow.
It's not just sick care. And so this is massive. And so, yeah, that's something that really blows people away. And so that's called our wellness credit program. Happy to share more if anyone's interested. And we just do free consultations. And again, it might not be the best thing for everyone's health. We're not trying to steer someone into something, but it's looking at all the different options that a lot of people don't know about. And the worst thing you can do is say, hey, I can't afford healthcare because I just need to pay my rent, my utilities, my food, my car. No,
It shouldn't be something that you choose not to do because you have to put those necessities. It should be a necessity. It should be something that it should be just as important as eating, right?
absolutely.
Having your health insurance, having your health, having being able to eat well, being able to have a shelter over your head. Those necessities should be cared for, and there's ways to be able to balance all of that without having to work 3 and 4 jobs. You know,
100%.
there is a
Yes.
way. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Savy.
No, not at all. You know, I was a single mom, and I did at one point. I worked 3 and 4 jobs. I know what that's
Wow.
like. You know, and I had to go without a lot of things. But you know, I always made sure I had health insurance. You know, my child was always taken care of. If anything can happen with kids, you have 4. You remember how many trips to the ER did you have?
We've done a few.
You know, and you have to have those kind of things. So some of those things are just really important. And so I know it's for everyone, but I stress to caregivers, just because you're you know, out of work or you're working from home now and trying to care for a loved one doesn't mean you have to go without coverage. Talk to Matt, see what he can do for you. Get the digits from him and see if that's a choice you can put into order, just to keep yourself healthy and to keep yourself covered. So that's what I recommend. You can contact him at 808-391-3947. That's 808-391-3947. Matt Skeele, and he is the regional director for Impact Health Sharing. So he's the one you want to talk to. All right. Thank you so much, Matt. And he does do a free initial consultation, you guys. So you're not going to get charged from him when you call him. Don't worry. Just give him a call. He's a good guy. All right.
Thanks, Savy. God bless.
Yep, absolutely. Appreciate the time. Aloha. And there we go. Again, you guys, that's Matt Skeele, and he's at 808-391-3947. Impact Health Sharing, you know, you guys, move with the future. There's a lot going on in the world and a lot that we want to make sure that we can do to keep ourselves safe and healthy. And that really is important because, again, caregivers, without you, who's going to take care of everyone? Moms, dads, your health matters. You know, what happens when there's no one to raise your kids, all right? Anyway, mahalo to both of you. Mahalo to Nam and to Matt today for all that you do. And as a reminder, boy, here we go again. I'm going to look back at the video and see if I can see the snow. I hope it's not just me. As a reminder, the show is brought to you by Gimme a Break and paid for, and Giver's Guides online magazine. So keep those donations coming. We are not funded. We have no grants. We get sponsorships for events, and we have wonderful people who donate to us, like the Pilot Club of Honolulu. Again, thank you, ladies. My heart to you, and real of appreciation for everything that you do. And that wraps this episode. Whew, season 16 with more resources for you. And next week we'll have 2 really great guests. I'm excited. Jenny Chung, who's the founder of Kupuna Paws. Yes, I said pause, P-A-W-S, and you'll find out why next week. And I'm so excited for you to meet Carl Powell. Carl's on Maui, and he's the founder of Body and Brain Health. Really exciting, great information that I'm going to share with you next week. So join us. Be here at 12 noon, the Caring Caregiver Show. That's what we're all about. Put a reminder in your phone at 12 o'clock noon, Hawaii Standard Time, every Wednesday. Watch us. We're here on the Caring Caregiver Show. And it's okay. If you miss us, we're streaming live on 7 different platforms right now. Go to Facebook, go to YouTube, go to LinkedIn. You'll find us and watch it over again. Once it ends live, that video will live there for a period of time and you can watch it. Or just go to our YouTube channel, either Give Me a Break. I think it's Give Me a Break 808, perhaps. And then, or on the Caring Caregiver Show. We have 2 YouTube channels right there. We're streaming live on both of them. So check it out. The bottom line, caregivers, stay connected. Don't isolate. Don't do what I did. It's not worth it. Stay connected. And that's what we're here for, to connect you to resources. Well, that's our show. I hope you enjoyed it. And remember, breathe. Take one right now. We forget to breathe. Take a deep breath, and here's hoping that you're finding more joy in your caregiving right here every week on the Caring Caregiver Show. Thanks for tuning in, and please be kind to yourself and especially to those who care. Aloha, everyone.